Okay, so that covers the basic installation of a unit. Now I was going to talk about a couple of the common problems and how to troubleshoot them. One of the common problems is you lose power and it doesn't back you up. 90+% of the time when that's the problem, it's typically related to batteries or the battery cable issues. So normally what I suggest doing, first thing is measure the battery voltage on the string. Like I said previously, all the batteries are in series. So pulling this out and taking your meter and hitting it on the two contacts there, if you don't have on a 72 volt system, 75 to 80 volts in that range there, you have a problem. I mean, typically you're going to have that, you're going to have zero, or you might have it down by 24 volts, which would indicate a bad cable, especially if it's a new system. If you don't have anything there, what you want to be looking for is make sure all the battery cables are connected. And occasionally what we see is the metal contact inside these plastic bodies slides in from the back and it hooks over a flat piece of spring steel. And every once in a while, one doesn't lock in place. And when you connect the two together, that contact recedes back in the body a little bit, and the connection can either not be there or it can be intermittent. So if you're not getting your voltage there, then you want to unplug all the batteries and inspect the cable end and inspect the battery end to make sure that those connectors, you can see it's rounded on the end and it slides over and hooks on that little flat piece of spring steel in there, and make sure that they're hooked on, and then measure your voltage again. The other thing you can do, you can measure the batteries statically. Measuring the voltage of the batteries will can tell you if a battery's bad, but it won't necessarily tell you if the battery's good. To tell if the battery's good, you really need to put a load on it and then see if it supports, if that voltage stays up under load or if the voltage crashes. Most of our units are designed to shut off when the batteries get to 10.5 volts. So on a 6 battery system, that would be 63 volts. So if you have one bad battery, as soon as you go on a battery run and the load is actually put on the batteries, if one of those batteries starts to die and that voltage drops below 63 volts, the unit's going to shut off. So if you can't find anything bad with the connectors or whatever, the next step is to look at the batteries. And if you don't have a load tester available, in a pinch, you can swap out known good batteries from another intersection, temporarily just to try it. Or if you really think it's the unit, it's a little bit easier to swap the unit out. You can take the unit over to another intersection where it's working fine and swap the unit out and see if it's working. The next somewhat common problem is overload. And a lot of times when you see overload, you're going to see general failure on the screen. Probably over half of the general failures that we get are related to being overloaded. And the way you want to, what can cause the overload is obviously, too much load on the intersection. If you've still got some incandescence, we've had situations where it was all LED and they had a knockdown and somebody brought a whole pole assembly out and they didn't check, and it actually had some incandescence in it. I don't know if we're going to find that anymore or not.